Am I the idiot for giving guardianship of my son to my aunt over my mother after I die of terminal cancer? I, male 21, have a son who just turned 1. His mom, who was my girlfriend, died in labor along with the other baby she was carrying. I was diagnosed with terminal cancer 3 months ago, and I don't have very long left, 2 months at most. I have accepted that I'm going to die, but now I have to think about what's best for my son. I had to decide who my boy would go to, and I thought my other 55, male, naturally, but then I started to think of her situation as my older 29, lives with her along with his 5 kids all aged under 5, and I decided not to, as mom works and my brother TBH isn't really raising his kids, more dragging them up and can be neglectful. I wasn't going to put my son in that environment, as I want someone to actually care for him. So I then thought of my aunt 33 on my dad's side. She is a good mother, and her husband a good father to their 3 girls, and I know they could provide for my son. I asked them and they agreed. My mother, however, found out that I wasn't leaving my son with her, and she got angry with me, that she's losing me and now losing her grandson. I gave her my reasons and that she realistically can't raise him, while she's basically raising a man-child and his kids. It all ended in an even bigger argument, and now I'm cooling off at home. I understand that things are terrible for her right now, as I won't be here soon, but my aunt is a much better choice. It's not like my son won't know who she is, as the walk between hers and my aunt's is only 5 minutes. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. You're taking a final responsibility to ensure that your child has the best chance for success. Don't feel bad about it, and don't let your mother talk you out of it. You're a good dad, and I'm sure your child will grow up knowing and appreciating that. Comment 2. I want to first offer my condolences over this entire situation. You are a bright and kind young person, and I am so sorry this is happening. Short answer: no, not the idiot. You have to think of your child, as hard and horrible as this all is. I'm unfamiliar with how child custody works once both parents have passed away, but what might offer a decent solution is if you're able to specify that legally, your mother will be able to spend time with him. This is a very delicate situation, and despite it all, I must say I believe you are handling it very well. I'm sending so much love and light your way. Now for the update. I gave my mother a few days to calm herself down before speaking to her again. She eventually came around. She recognizes that it's not optimal for my son to stay with her, and that he would be better with my aunt. She knows that my brother is a slob and is giving him a good kick up the arse to get his life together and poop. I have spoken with a lawyer who has helped me with a lot of things, including getting my son legally adopted by my aunt and her husband. He will still be staying with me until I pass. As a lot of you suggested, I made recordings and videos of myself giving him advice for his milestones. For example, when he loses his first tooth, turning the ages 10, 13, 16, 18, 21, his first girlfriend or boyfriend if he likes, I've made a video in case he is in any way LGBT+, leaving secondary school, going uni, getting married, or if he has any kids. There are also things I've put into writing, like how his mother died and that he was supposed to grow up with a twin brother that also sadly passed. I've also had my lawyer help me set up a little trust to will him, £40,000 from my girlfriend's father when he died. She put the money in a joint bank account that I got when she passed, in case he needs help with university or decides to go traveling. All I have to do now is to enjoy the time I have left with him. I've moved my younger brother into my flat so that there will be someone to find me every day for when I go. When I'm gone, I can at least be comforted by the fact that the son I love so much is being taken care of, and that I will see the girl I love again, and our other angel I never got to meet. Thank you all again. Comment 1. I read your original post when you put it up, and it broke my heart. This is an awful situation for you and your family, and I'm so sorry that all of this has happened to you. I'm glad to see your mother understands your point of view, and I wish you nothing but love and positive vibes for the remainder of your time with your family. Hold your beautiful son tight. Comment 2. I would also consider making some videos for the bad times as well. First heartbreak, getting an F/failing a class, not getting the job he wanted, not getting into the university he wanted. My father was always there for the good times, but when I tended to need him the most was in the bad times to help steer the boat back in the right direction. Also maybe record a video of the talk, as that's another big thing. Now, for the next story. I promise it's happier than the last one. Am I the idiot for leaving 2 days early because Santa didn't bring me or my future son anything like he did for everyone else in my family? Okay, I'm 90% sure that I am, but I've let it sit for a day and I'm still hurt. So, I need some outside perspective. Before we get into this, I'm very aware that many people in the world get nothing at all for Christmas. I actually spent weeks leading up to Christmas volunteering, virtually this year, for the Battered Women's Shelter and a foster care organization. Prior to this Christmas, we quarantined for weeks, and we all got tested. We are one of those families that doesn't go into stores, hooray curbside, or eat out, and we are all fortunate enough to work from home or be retired. Now, my mom does all the shopping for Christmas, full stop. She asked what I wanted, and because I'm pregnant I just asked for stuff for the baby, especially since I won't have a baby shower. She said, fine, I'll get that stuff. But what about you and your husband? Well, we really didn't want much, so I threw together 3 ideas for each of us but told her to please shop for a baby. I also gave them a link to a registry with over 40 small items selected so they weren't on their own. Meanwhile, I got them what they asked for. My dad bought a Fire Stick TV and contributed to his Oculus. My mom bought some jewelry from Pandora and hand-blown glass cups she wanted. My brother, male 24, who still lives with them, has a case for the iPad they got him and $100. My parents still do Santa. The whole bit. The cookies, the milk, the presents that magically show up. It's their choice. We don't ask for it, but we play along because it makes them happy. We came downstairs yesterday morning and everyone else had gifts from Santa. We do not. My dad just slips us a note saying Santa is done for us, so we sit there awkwardly while my mom, dad, and brother open all their gifts from Santa. They struggled to find gifts for me at all. They found plenty from my husband, gardening stuff he wanted, but the only real gifts they gave me were a pair of Adidas shoes I didn't ask for, a perfume I don't wear, and a ramen I like. That's fine. All I wanted all along were things for the baby who they've known for weeks will be a boy. They gave us 3 onesies and an ugly nursing pillow. Icing on the cake was my older brother, male 40, and his family having a whole stack of presents to be sent to them. Just for him, we're talking power tools, drill sets, brand name clothes, and shoes just for him, not to mention wife and kids. Here's what might make me an AH. Not wanting to spoil everyone's fun by sulking, I chose to return 2 days earlier than planned. My husband is trying to be understanding but said I may be the AH for expecting anything at all and for leaving so unexpectedly. In fact, the entire family made passive-aggressive comments the entire day, but I ignored them all. The only person I felt bad for was my dad, because he seemed truly hurt. It feels as if it was just me and my future son who was neglected. So I left. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. Instead of throwing a temper tantrum, you went back home where you would be free to explore your feelings. I wonder if the shoes/perfume were regifts if they fall so far out of your personality. I would collect your thoughts and call your dad to ask why Santa was done for you and their future grandson. Ask if you offended them in some way. And next year, perhaps all the years after that, spend Christmas with the in-laws. Comment 2, not the idiot. So they gave everybody else heaps of nice presents, and you hardly anything? That's a bit cruel, especially since you just want stuff for your baby. Was there any discussion over Santa prior? Like, is there any reason why you wouldn't have gotten any presents from Santa? Now for the update. One of the commenters suggested actually taking a 23andMe test and seeing if it matched my parents. I had done so 2 years ago, and posted about it on this account, because I was struggling with the revelation that my dad is not my bio-dad and how it may have impacted how I grew up. I forgot to consider this until I read this comment. My mom knows. My dad either doesn't, or doesn't want me to know. Either way, I'm not going to give my mother the ammo to hurt me by broaching this topic with them. I know that's what she'll do. I know my mother didn't love me as a child because she called me up a couple of years ago and let slip. I wish I had loved you when you were a child. Not I wish I had loved you more or anything like that. Just point blank. I didn't love you. It's just, none of this made itself known during Christmas. Ever. I was shocked. I've spoken with both parents and my dad was beyond apologetic. He said that the note was really something he treasured as a symbol of leading his own house. He said that it was very poorly timed and that he whipped it out to cover the awkwardness. He was blindsided. He works and she's retired. He trusts her with the shopping. He tried to broach the topic with my mom before I talked to her, and it did not go well. She became incredibly defensive to the point that he had to call me to tell me not to reach out to her until she called me herself. So I waited. She said she did get me another gift, some plates/bowls, and told me they were on the way. I thanked her. Other than that, she didn't acknowledge Christmas had happened or that there were any disparities. She knows that I know that what she did was wrong and she doesn't want to talk about it. Yes, I spoke with my husband. I laid it all out for him, and when he understood that this was much more than about a woman not getting enough gifts, he backed off his judgment. He admitted that he doesn't know what any of this is like, but that he's proud of how I handled myself given the circumstances and he will continue to support me. He said we also have a couple of options. We can cut off my entire side of the family altogether, but it wouldn't be possible to just cut out my mom. I am not ready to cut ties with my dad. So we went with option 2. We set up ground rules. We will under no circumstances give them any unsupervised time with the baby. We will not go to visit them. We will not let them stay in our house. I will not call my mom. I will answer, but be short and sweet when I talk. Even if she decides to acknowledge the past and truly apologize, I will forgive but I won't forget. They will have a very insignificant role in my son's life. Comment 1. Here's a few theories of why your mother treats you so poorly. 1. You are the only female, and she may feel jealous. 2. You are now pregnant, and she may fear your child given the gray area about your own paternity. A pair of blue eyes and a sea of brown will raise questions. 3. She is no longer the center of your attention. 4. She doesn't want you to be happy, she doesn't think you deserve it. She definitely doesn't want you around, and demanding you limit contact is a way to do that. If you are brave, you can call her nonsense and see what happens. I'll be clear with you. There's something motivating you to push me away. I'm happy to let you go, but I'm going to find out why first. It would be easier if you told me, but not required. She'll panic for a bit, but will probably reveal something that helps you make sense of things. Don't ever leave her alone with your child. She has a malicious, sneaky streak that makes her unsafe. Comment 2. So proud and happy for you. I've been wondering how you've been doing. Your post is actually the first I ever commented on. I, female 28, also have a strained relationship with my mom. She's resented me for things over the years. Made me perform a lot of emotional labor as a child for her after my father passed away. Despite it all, I still love her. As I'm sure you still love your mom. But it's hard. I've had to learn over the years to set boundaries for myself, which wasn't easy, especially as we currently live together. But I've learned to stand up for myself, as you have too. My mom fought my needing boundaries when I first brought it up, but we have an okay relationship now. She also understands how she hurt me, but didn't really want to take responsibility for her actions. It's just something I've learned to live with. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for not being the nicest about my not father having cancer? I'm Sophie, female 22, and I have 2 older half-brothers, male 25 and 27M. The man who had been raising me as my father, male 54, found out I was not his biological child, my 2 older brothers are, when I was 7 and promptly abandoned me and divorced my mom. He was very involved up until this point, and was actually in the middle of coaching my soccer team when it happened. He abandoned that too, and the assistant coach had to take over. Anyways, he ended up, not sure how, paying child support to my mom for me, probably because he was the breadwinner, and him leaving my mom left us two in pretty dire financial circumstances. I was also yanked out of the private school my brothers and I attended. He remarried a few years later to a woman with a daughter a year younger than me and promptly did everything with her that he used to do with me. Hurrah for them. Sophomore year of high school, some organization was hosting a father-daughter dance in our school gym while I was around campus with some friends, can't remember, and we vandalized the fancy car he pulled up in. Not something I'm proud of, but I'm mentioning it here because although I paid for half the cost of repairs, he graciously paid the other half and decided not to press charges. Anyways, now the old man has cancer, both brothers and stepdaughter are out of state with school, and his wife has early arthritis or something, not really sure. He calls my mom and asks her if either of us could drive him to and from chemotherapy. We were in the car and he was on speaker, so I told him no, that's something family does, and he's made it very clear he doesn't see either of us as family, and hung up. Mom is doing things like bringing casseroles and driving him. I don't try to stop her, but I don't help her either. She has recently started to try and guilt me into it, saying, 1. He always paid child support, to which I said the amount of money he lost on that was about as impactful as a fart in the wind for old money bags too. He didn't press charges about his car, to which I said great. He did one nice thing for me, so he can get one casserole or one car ride. Now my siblings and his stepdaughter have all flown in and my brother says he, not dad, really needs to speak to me. I said to tell him that if he has something to say to me I don't want to hear it, and if he writes me a letter I'm not opening it. I said I was sorry for what they were going through, but that he's made it very clear I'm not his family, and so I don't want them asking me for things they would ask of my family. However, they're struggling, and the more they ask for help the more my patience wears thin and the more insensitive my rejections get. My mother recently talked with me about being the bigger person. Am I the idiot? Also, please don't leave comments like, the real idiot is your mom for cheating and committing paternity fraud. Like, thanks for that one, Sherlock, and my mother and I have reconciled. Edit, my mom is pushing me to be the bigger person, because our pastor says it will have a healing effect on my soul. She is very religious. There's no updates, so here's the comments. Not the idiot. The man who had raised you as his own daughter for 7 years suddenly dumped you. It was not your fault that your mother had cheated. You loved him as your father. He ripped away your security, your family, your lifestyle, and I am sure a good chunk of your heart. That is not something that is easily forgiven. Maybe your mother is helping him because she still has some sort of sense of guilt. But that is not your guilt to carry. That man did you very wrong, and I wouldn't shed a tear when he died if I were you. I am sorry your brothers are suffering. It's understandable, they are worried about their father. But he has not been a father to you for 15 years. By his own choice. How much is one child supposed to take? Not only did he withdraw his love and affection, but then he made you watch as he showered that attention on another little girl who was also not his child. He seems to have no problem loving her. The hurt and trauma he has caused you is not easily gotten over. It sucks that your mom is so quick to overlook the damage that was done to you in order to try to rehabilitate herself. It's not about being the bigger person. The injustices he did to you were inflicted on a child. He had the opportunity to do right by you and chose not to. Your mom's infidelity was not your fault. The relationship you had established with him for 7 years meant nothing to him. And now he means nothing to you, and that's okay. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to drop a like. It really helps the channel grow. See you next time.